All right. I want to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And I want to say shalom to the brothers and sisters that are in this truth. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, man. We back with another lesson. And this one's going to go into misery before the destruction. Okay, because we're in the time of prophecy. All right. And as we all see, okay, America is in a state of confusion, all right, which this would be Babylon the Great, all right? It's in a state of confusion, all right, with this war that's going on in Iran, okay? Got people calling for unity, all right? We got Esau, okay, scared, all right? These people are miserable, all right? Gas prices are going up, which is going to cause a chain reaction. Everything's going to go up, food, okay? They're going to tax you on everything, all right? So there's great misery, all right? And we know that this was prophesied, all right, to come before the destruction of America, all right? And this is the times that we're in right now, that we're in the times of prophecy, okay? All this that's happening right now is prophetic events, all right? For all those that could see, all those that have eyes to see and ears to hear, okay? For those that can understand the times that we are in, okay? We see it, and it's misery towards the 2/3 and misery towards the heathen, especially Esau, Edom. All right, but it's joy, all right, to the 1/3, to the hopeful elect, all right, that are in this truth. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the book of Revelation. All right, chapter 19 and verse 10.
There's the book of Revelation, chapter 19 and verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant.
You see that? And this is John the Revelator, okay, falling to the angel's feet, but he says, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant. All right, go ahead.
And of thy brethren.
And of thy brethren, okay, a brother, okay, because remember the first fruits were in the heavens, all right, before all this. Okay, go ahead.
That have the testimony of Yahushai.
That has the testimony of Yahushai.
Worship Yahweh.
Worship Yahweh. Why?
For the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy.
You see that? For the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy. Okay? And this is the spirit that the men in this truth are in. Okay? We're in the spirit of prophecy. Okay? Because this is the times that we're in. We see it. All right, Ezekiel 38 is activating, okay? Joel 3 is activating, all right? Pretty soon, Isaiah 13, okay? Pretty soon, 2nd Ezra 13, okay? Now we're just waiting for Revelations 13 and 16 to activate all those prophecies that shall come to pass, all right? But that's the spirit that we're in. We're in the spirit of prophecy and prophesying the downfall of Babylon, of the great whore, okay? Okay, we're in the same spirit as the prophets of old, because the spirit of the prophets is subject unto the prophets, okay? Matter of fact, let's go to the book of Jeremiah, okay? Chapter 28 and verse 8.
There's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 28 and verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied, both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence.
You see that? Of war and of evil and of pestilence, okay? And this is the same spirit we're in, okay? We're prophesying, against this great kingdom, right? Which will be Babylon the Great, of war, okay? World War III is coming, okay? And of evil and of pestilence, okay? Because that's what's coming. Great evils are coming, all right, which is bad times, especially for you 2/3 Jakes, okay? Jacob's trouble is coming. But guess what? The Lord's going to cover his elect, all right? And of pestilence, okay? All that is coming on its way, all right? So this is the times that we're in. We're prophesying, okay, all these things that are going to happen again as it happened before. As the prophets has prophesied before, we're prophesying again, because there's nothing new under the sun. What is then is now, okay? And this is all for you, Jake, right? The elect, okay? Because the 2/3 has heard this word, all right? And has rejected, okay, the word, which they rejected the chief cornerstone, right? They rejected Yahweh Shai, all right? So we're basically letting you know, all right, that, you know, the Lord is bringing this destruction to save you 1/3 in the multitude, okay, to bring down New Jerusalem again, okay? But we're also prophesying the destruction of you 2/3 that are going to die with the heathen, all right, for rejecting this word, okay? Here in America especially, all right? And there's great miseries and we see it, okay? It's all over social media, all right? People are complaining about the rent. People are complaining about the food prices. People are complaining that they can no longer keep up with their living, all right? You see? And you know, us, the hopeful elect, we go through it. We've been going through hell for a while. All the brothers, you know? And we understand that the Lord is going to give us our daily bread, all right? And keep us balanced, all right? And this is what we got to deal with, okay? But guess what? Our suffering is not going to be compared to the glory that's to come, as Paul said, right? Okay? But you people out there are miserable and don't understand what is going on. All right? Right now, Babylon is in a state of confusion, and that's why the Lord said that He's going to bring down Babylon, right? And to sit in the dust, as it says in Isaiah chapter 47. Okay? That is confusion. You people are miserable because you don't understand the times that we're in. All right? You Israelites out there, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and speckled birds that look like the other nations but go back to the seed of Jacob, should be rejoicing, right? But you have no understanding, okay? You guys are in the outer courts, in the congregation of the dead, all right? With no vision of what's coming, okay? Which should have been, you know, good news to you, okay? But this right here, this new song that we're singing, okay, it's a bad song to your ears because you don't like, right, you know, feeding your spirit. You want to keep feeding the flesh here in America, all right? So let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra. All right, 2nd Ezra. Let's go to chapter 15. We're going to start at verse 10.
There's a book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now, Salakia, to dwell in the land of Egypt.
Okay, and that's Egypt is talking about here in America. Okay, how do we know that Egypt is synonymous with America? When you go to the book of Revelations, chapter 11 and verse 8. Okay, it tells you that this is spiritual Egypt and Sodom. Okay, go ahead.
But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm.
And that mighty hand is Yahweh Shai. Okay, that's coming in those chariots. Okay, go ahead.
And smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof.
You see that? So he's going to smite Egypt with plagues as before. Okay, and one of those plagues, we're going to bring it out after, okay, is the missiles. Okay, go ahead.
Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it.
You see that? So right now, Egypt is in the beginning stages of them birth pains, man. All right? They're feeling that pain. They're feeling it. They understand. They see that something is off. All right? This isn't the America they once knew, as they say. Okay? Why? Because the Lord said, I have gave you boundaries that you cannot pass. And this is the time that we're in, that the Lord is going to come visit, right? Babylon, the great city, right? For all the iniquities, okay, that it has done. All right? Point blank, period. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Let's go to the book of Revelation, right? Chapter 18 and verse 5.
There's a book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven.
See that? For her sins have reached unto heaven. And this is talking about Babylon. Okay? Here in America, the great whore. Go ahead.
And remembered her iniquities.
And remember, and Yahweh
hath remembered her iniquities.
Right. And Yahweh has remembered her iniquities. Go ahead.
Reward her even as she rewarded you. And double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double.
You see that? So the what you have done, right, to everybody on this earth, all the robbery, the the murdering, right, the raping, okay, especially to the children of Israel, all right, you're gonna get double now, okay? You're gonna receive double the punishment for what you've done. Go ahead.
How much she hath glorified herself, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
You see that? So she said in her heart, I sit a queen. And there's no coincidence that this is the great whore. Because when you look at the word queen, that goes back to whore. Okay? And am no widow, and shall see no sorrow, because they think they got the greatest military. Okay? She's never been penetrated, meaning that there's never been a war here in the soils of America, right? Or an invasion of another country. Okay? But all that is about to change through prophecy. Go ahead.
Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, and mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord, Yahweh, who judgeth her.
You see that? And that when she gets burned with fire, that's going to be them thermonuclear missiles, okay, aimed at her from Russia, Iran, China, Korea, all right, even her allies, okay, and everybody else that possesses nuclear capabilities, okay. It says it's going to be 200 million warheads hitting this place, all right, and they just figured out that Iran got a missile that splits into 100 warheads, okay. So now you can see, okay, how this place is going to get pelted, while the earth is going to shake to and fro like a drunkard, okay? Because this is the misery, right, that you're seeing before this destruction that is being prophesied, all right? Here in Revelation, all right? It's prophesied in Isaiah. It's prophesied in Jeremiah, Zechariah, okay? And many more, all right? This is the final destination, okay, for America, all right? That great destruction that is coming. All right, and it is beautiful because I heard the elder, right, from Boston, I believe his name is Elder Adama, okay, saying that this war is for you Israelites. The Lord is bringing this war, all right, to free you Israelites that turn back to the Lord in truth and sincerity, all right, and it's a beautiful thing to understand that, all right. So let's go to the book of Baruch, okay, let's go to the book of Baruch. Chapter 4, and we're going to start at verse 29.
There's the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and verse 29. For he that hath brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with your salvation.
You see that? So the Lord's going to turn these curses around, okay? He's going to take them off us, okay? And put them on our enemies, as it says in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, and verse 7. Go ahead.
Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee.
See, he's going to comfort thee, and he started comforting us through this truth. Go ahead.
Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoiced at thy fall.
You see that, and you're seeing that right now, okay? You see the misery coming upon these Edomites and these other nations, okay? Talking about unity and love. No, fuck that. Where the hell was our love, right, when you came, right, and did what you did, starting with Gad, all right, the so-called Latinos, okay, and then you went in 1619 and picked up the brothers, okay. Where was the love then? All right, where was the love when we left out of Egypt and you tried and you started you know, getting at the old and the young, okay, and the feeble from the back, Amalek, okay? Where was the love? Okay, you guys been our arch enemy since the womb. Okay, so there is not going to be no love. There ain't going to be no getting together, okay? Nothing but miseries, lamentations, and woes are coming to you. Go ahead.
Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons.
You see that? And that's right here, Babylon, man. Okay? We served captivity here. This is our last captivity. Okay? And she received our sons. Go ahead.
For as she rejoiced at thy ruin, and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation.
See that? She's going to be grieved for her own desolation, all right? Which is going to come through World War III, right? And when them chariots come, all right? The missiles, right? The concentrated heat coming from the fathership, all right? This place is going to be desolate.
For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time.
You see that? So the whole thing right here is, man, is the great cleansing that's coming, right? Fire, all right, to purify, all right, the earth, okay? Because this wicked devil, all right, has corrupted everything, man, all right? All the elements shall burn, man, okay, with fervent heat, as the scripture says, right? Because that's that great cleansing that is coming, all right? And it is much needed, all right? Everything is corrupted. The air is corrupted. The water is corrupted, all right? All this pavement got to come off, all right? The world, the earth is going to go back to like the Garden of Eden, man, all right? To its pure state, okay? And fire is the best element to use in order to cleanse something, all right? So, let's go to the book of Joel. All right, chapter 3. Go to verse 19.
There is a book of Joel, chapter 3, and verse 19. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land.
You see that? So the Lord, as I said, okay, and as the elder Adama said, man, this war is for you, all right? The Lord is doing this for you, okay? That's why faith is going to be something that's going to be needed in these times, okay? Because as we mention all the time, we're prisoners of hope, okay? But if you're doing what is right, okay, hey, you ain't got nothing to worry about, okay? If you're doing what is right and the Spirit is dealing with you and you are bringing out this truth, you're living your day to day, praying, doing what is right, okay, offending less, all right? Not acting like a nigga behind closed doors, all right? Because remember, as the scripture says, the Lord's eyes is brighter, 10,000 times brighter than the sun, all right? All these prophecies are coming to pass in order to save you out of this hellhole that we've been in, all right? For 500 years, okay? You see, it's all coming to an end, right? The end is at Esau's end is right there, knocking on the door, okay? And we can see it. We see the finish line, all right? Why? Because through prophecy, as the scripture says, measure thou the times diligently, okay? And the only way you can measure the times diligently is through prophecy, all right? And that's why you see these great miseries, all right, in America right now, all right? This ain't the place we once knew, all right? You can't even go to the food store and fill up a cart without spending $400 or $500, okay? People are leaving with 3-4 bags, all right, $400, okay? People are so used to just rolling up to McDonald's, all right, getting their fast food, ordering a pizza. All that shit is going to be done away with, okay? You super wicked niggas and women are going to feel the heat, all right, when all this shit starts collapsing, right? When your comfort, all right, gets taken away. You see? Your housing gets taken away, your food stamps, your Section 8s, all right? You wicked women that have your men in dealing with your men in court, right? That want to be a father to the child, right? But you got them in what's that called? Child support, okay? When all that shit gets taken away, all right, what are you going to do after, okay? All right? You're going to try to turn to the men of the Lord, but, hey, the Lord, the Lord is only going to receive those he has mercy on, okay? The Lord is only going to accept those he has mercy on, man, and there ain't going to be too many. You see? As the elders always say, too, right? We don't need you, women of the nation, to bring back the nation, okay? The man carries the seed. A lot of you women are proud, and not saying that all of them, because there's sisters out there that truly believe, okay, and that, are really invested in the truth, okay? But there's a lot more women, all right, on this earth than men, okay? So a lot more women are going to fall, okay? And we're going to be able to see it. We're going to see it, as the scripture says in the book of Micah, okay? We're going to see the fall of our enemy, which, hey, is these women. These women are the cause, right, of what happened to us, okay? As it happened in the garden, it happened here in America. They got deceived by the devil, okay? And they destroyed all these families, all right? They turn around and blame it on the men, all right? But many miseries are coming to you before the destruction, all right? So stay prayed up, Jake, okay? Hey, keep building that faith. Keep praying to the Lord for faith, all right? Pray to the Lord for mercy, all right? And keep praying for spiritual things, man, all right? Because this is almost over, okay? So, Lord willing, this was edifying, and we're going to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And I want to say shalom to the brothers and sisters that are in this truth. Shalom.
Shalom.
Abba,
Abba,
Kwam Yasharala.
Kwame Sharala.
Shalom.
Shalom.